Couchsurfing is a website where you can meet travelers.
Say I don't know anyone where I'm going, I can look up people on Couchsurfing and find somebody to stay with for free.
I would travel a lot alone, and Couchsurfing would give me a chance not to be lonely in a place.
You create a profile, you search for the city you're going to, you will find the profiles of the people that are willing to host you. If you write them a nice message, you will probably hear a very positive reply.
People will usually host you in their home, on the couch, or if they have a separate bed, or even on the floor.
You could get off the plane practically anywhere in the world, and someone would want to meet you and take care of you. Make sure that you were safe, make sure that you had, a roof over your head and good food, and know where all cool places to visit are.
Couchsurfing.
Couchsurfing? It's ridiculous.
How can you trust a stranger?
When I couch surf people's couches, I always like to contribute some way or another. Right now I'm making a little borscht. It's a Russian soup. I told you to eat it, just eat it, eat it.
In around 2000, when I first had this idea for Couchsurfing, I thought, okay, I wonder if I could try this. I found a cheap ticket to Iceland, and I stumbled across the University of Iceland student directory, and you have to type in a name of somebody you know. So the only Icelandic name I knew was Björk. So I typed in Björk, and a whole bunch of Björks came up and their email addresses. And so I wrote a little script to just keep getting more names. And so I was able to get 1,500 names and email addresses, and then construct a spam email merge to them all, kind of personalized, like, hey, Björn, I'm coming to Iceland. I'd love to hang out. Here's a bit about me. Here's my personal philosophy on life, some pictures. Basically a Couchsurfing profile. And I had between 50 and 100 people saying, oh yes, come this weekend. I would love to show you around. And then it was like, oh, this is how it happens. There's a profile that shows who you are and inspires people to want to meet you.
In the early 2000s, the internet was still just barely on the rise.
Facebook was just a small platform. Instagram didn't exist yet.
People didn't have smartphones in the early 2000s.
I used paper map to travel.
What was common would be hostels, and Couchsurfing was like a real innovation.
Think of meeting a stranger online back then and you think axe murderer. That was what people would say. Now people don't think anything of it.
I like to take my crazy or brave enough guests to my favorite tower in a city. A little bit rusty, a little bit dangerous. And I also like to take some of my guests on a motorcycle ride.
Thank you so much, Janko, for showing me this cool place. I would have never thought to come up here like 1 hour ago.
Food is very important thing for me.
I like thrifting, sharing the music, talking about traveling.
We're having a bunch of Couchsurfers coming over for dinner tonight, so we're making some food.
And painting, painting. We will share time together to go out to painting.
I had situations where I was supposed to stay with my host for 2 days, but it was so amazing that I stayed like for a week.
My main goal on Couchsurfing is having these travelers not feel like that they're traveling, but they're visiting with their friends.
It's not about the free place to stay. It never has been. That ethos of gifting, it's gifting what's in your heart, showing, exchanging, and sharing what you have. Just giving a little bit of goodness and spreading that.
I started making these music videos for my friend in Germany who was missing Alaska, who was my first Couchsurfer. And then I ended up asking Couchsurfers to join me on these videos. It was kind of a fun thing to do. When you get to the top of the mountain, you just start dancing.
It's all started off with me, a programmer, and I felt like I was spinning plates. I was like, okay, program, now I'm going to do some administrative work. Now I'm going to send out some verifications. And I quickly had to learn I need to share this burden. So we started doing these collectives. I think we did about 12 or 13 collectives in total, all around the world, and eventually it became unsustainable. We started off as a nonprofit, and we were seeking 501c3 status, which is the status in the United States that allows you to be a charity. But it was really hard going with the IRS because they just didn't see us that way. They just kept seeing us as a way for people to save money.
In 2011, Couchsurfing became a for-profit company. Becoming a for-profit company basically goes against the idea of Couchsurfing and against the values of many of its community members.
That was a really tough time. I had this identity, we're a nonprofit, and promising people that we're staying a nonprofit, we're doing everything we can to get this, and then have an authority tell you that no, you can't. It really put me in a very difficult situation personally and just professionally and just kind of in my heart. I tried to explain to members, but I think the big mistake I made was I made it in a very logical way, like, oh, it's these things, blah, blah, logic. But I didn't meet people where they were emotionally, and that I feel pretty bad about. Sometimes you're in a company and sometimes you're a founder and sometimes founders leave. That's the position that I found myself in with my co-founder, Dan. And we decided to go on to do different things.
A lot of people were already leaving Couchsurfing and looking to alternatives, but this was kind of the last straw. It was so surprising that I couldn't even see my own profile. I couldn't even see my own photos, my contacts.
If I want to delete my profile and I don't want it to be there anymore, I don't have access to it unless I pay.
I hosted 270 Couchsurfers in the last 5 years. It does bother me that, as a host mainly, that I have to pay.
I would have happily donated to Couchsurfing, but since it changed into a for-profit company, I will refuse to give it any money.
I do pay for still using the platform. However, I know a lot of people who were extremely disappointed by that, not because of the money, but simply more about the ideals of the platform.
I believe probably Couchsurfing will survive, but the question is who will be there and if these are the people that I would like to reach.
I think the millennials will start a new website and there'll just be another Couchsurfing, but it'll be called something else. That's just the way it goes.
This spirit of meeting people, being open, it gives me hope for a world where people can trust each other, can share, and are generous.
I'm forever grateful for every person who I've met. I may not be friends with all 270 of them, but at the end of the day, I could always remember each Couchsurfer a memory with.
I was able to host people from more than 10, 20, 30 different countries, and you always hear something different, you always learn something new, and these are very interesting people doing very diverse jobs from completely different backgrounds. So that teaches you a little bit how big the world is and all the options you have.
Just the fact that people know about Couchsurfing, that millions of people have had hundreds of millions of trust exchanges over the network and then just on their own, freestyle Couchsurfing, I like to call it. I think it's really created a different world. It's allowed people to see that they can trust people they don't know. Everything that's happened already is, I think, a net positive for the world. And so anything else that continues to happen is a bonus.